Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Experience Kills. This is episode 15 and I am your host Ben. With me today we have Rob.
I was going to sing hello and I decided against it halfway through that one. Hello.
we also have Cameron.
Hello. Rob, we could get like a three-way harmony going on.
Harmonizing, baby.
Yeah, we could, couldn't we? But no.
We're we could, but no. And let's news update. Richard is feeling better. Hopefully next week will be game of the year. He's taking this week to finish off his recovery, spend some time with his missus and stuff, who the whole house was affected. So we're really happy to hear this news from Richard. We're really happy that he's on the mend and he's going to be back with us next week. As long as everything goes to plan, that's what's going to happen. So that's great news. Super happy about all that. Yeah. It was horrible. Yeah. So as we've said before, but that's an update on Richard's thing. So what we're doing today is we're going to talk about some stuff. We're going to go through some news. We're going to continue with our second date of video game questions now, I guess, and have a chat about some games we've been playing and things game related and stuff like that. If that all sounds lovely, what do you guys think? Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Sounds like a good second date. I've brought the chapstick just in case I'm feeling romantic.
So I guess I'm about to take a sip of it, so I should probably plug it.
Here we go.
For once, it didn't come from me, so...
So no, I decided to try out a new energy drink this week.
Would any gamers like to guess which one?
Well, what can I say? The marketing finally broke me down, and it's this stuff called Sneak. It's a UK thing. It comes in a powder, but you can get like cans of it as well. But basically, it's
a snortable version.
Yeah, no. You put it in this very nice shaker, and you mix it up, and I got a selection of flavors to start it off, and it's not. I'm just gonna say it's really nice. I'm really enjoying it, and it's a nice alternative to I drink not a lot of Red Bull, but when I go for an energy drink, I go for Red Bull. And this has been a nice sort of getting more water in, less sugar. Like I said, zero sugar, lots of different flavors, a lot more variety, and it's good. It gives me a nice bit of energy, but without like that harsh come down you sometimes get off of a when you do a bit of a Red Bull sesh. So it's good.
What sort of flavors? Like, is it? You say there's no sugar, but like, is it like overly sweetened or anything?
No, well, the flavor I'm having right now is bubblegum. Bubblegum flavor.
Anyway. Yeah,
exactly. But I've tried so far like a blue raspberry and a cherry, and both have been really nice. That's what I'm gonna say. They're not sponsoring the show. I bought this, so it's a case of I just kind of wanted to mention it because I imagine a lot of gamers have seen the adverts in their Facebooks and on Twitter and stuff and Instagram and stuff. They're quite aggressive with their marketing, and it's quite catchy looking marketing with a bunny and stuff, and it's cool. But extreme close up on Cameron right now happening. I don't know what's it's going to zooming in there. But no, I just thought I'd mention I gave it a go. I gave it a go, and it's nice. It's good. So yeah, that's the first thing I want to touch upon. We don't have to go into it anymore, but Sneak. What have you guys been up to this week? I want to touch on a couple of things I've been watching, but I'll let you guys hit it up first. Nothing.
Yeah, nothing really. Just been cracking
working.
Yeah,
I know the feeling.
Work. Not much gaming this week for me either, unfortunately. Not been playing much exciting things. It's just been a bit of a non-week.
Yeah, I mean, we're not probably gonna have a lot to talk about in games, are we? Because I also haven't played any games I didn't play last week. What about you, Cam?
Well, you know me. I try and work as minimal as possible in my working from home scenario. Because I mean, when you're at home, who wants to work? But no, I mean, I've been playing some games occasionally whilst there's a quiet period between customers on my laptop. So I've got a friend who's always at home and online right now. So I'll just kind of message him every now and then. We have a little game of something to play around on, something like 2-player. So it's pretty average week for me, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, so we might talk about some games we've been playing later on in the show, but I wanted to mention a couple of things I've been watching because they're gaming related. So I've been watching 2 gaming sitcoms to do with gaming, right? So the first one I think I've mentioned before, which is Mythic Quest, and I went back on Apple TV Plus and watched it again all the way through. It's not very long. I can't recommend it enough. It's about these developers, kind of like in the Ubisoft model, who have made a very successful MMO. And it's kind of like the trials and tribulations of dealing with. It's a workplace comedy, but at a game studio. So you've kind of seen it before. You know what that is: Parks and Rec, The Office, etc. But in our world, if you like. So I think, it's very, very good. It's got one of the main guys from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's got Danny Puddy from Community in it. It's got people you're going to recognize, and it's brilliant. I really like it a lot, and I do think it's one of the better new sitcoms out there. And then kind of connected, because it's about, instead of about people who make games, it's about people that play them. It's a show called Dead Pixels on E4. Another sitcom, and they're just brought out season 2 of that, and each season is only like 6 episodes long, and that one is about these three people who play this MMO, and just the darkestness, like awful shit that they do to like sort of continue their obsession. But at the same time, it isn't just like ripping on gamers. It's actually really well observed and written, and very true, I think, to the gaming kind of what happens. And and yeah, they point out that you might have issues with, say, social interaction, but at the same time, gaming is also a social interaction. So it has a balanced sort of perspective on that level of obsession. Like, these aren't just casual gamers; these guys are deep into this particular MMO. And what I really like about this one is that when they show the MMO, it's sort of bespoke animated, and it actually looks like a video game. Whereas in Mythic Quest, because they made it in conjunction with Ubisoft, they show like footage from For Honor and Assassin's Creed cut throughout to make it kind of look like a game without a lot of its own kind of bespoke stuff. Whereas Dead Pixels is all bespoke, so it kind of feels a bit more authentic in that regard if you're a gamer. And I really like Dead Pixels. It's very, very British, very sort of small setup, like mostly all in one set in one apartment. There is outside stuff as well, but yeah, it's just very, very dark at times, and about halfway through the second season now. But they're only half-hour episodes, and there's only like 6 of them, so I'm probably just going to finish it off today. But I think it's well worth checking out if you've got 4OD or whatever. Give that one a go. Mythic Quest is a bit harder because it's on Apple TV Plus, but you can get a trial for that for a week for free, or you can pick up a sub for a month for like a $5. And I think Mythic Quest is totally worth a $5, and you'd smash it straight away. So.
I've been whenever I troll through Facebook, occasionally there's always like a clip from something there, from like Dead Pixels, for example, and it looks hilarious. It's especially like there's one of the characters who's he's a dad, isn't he, and a husband.
Yes,
and
yes.
And I can perfectly relate to that guy through some of the scenarios I've watched in these Facebook clips. Just like you can hear his like daughter shouting for help in the background. It's like, "You're a big girl, you can do it." I've got a 3-year-old who yells at me from the top of the stairs who needs wee. I'm just like, yeah, just come on, deal with it. I'm in the middle of a boss battle. I can't pause it.
Look, you're 5 and you're still wearing nappies, but that's fine. Don't worry about it. I mean, it's like, yes, that stuff he does is. I don't want to kind of like, a lot of the scenes come to mind when you mention him, but I don't want to spoil them, because there's a lot of stuff that usually happens in the background of him, because it's like almost a webcam perspective when it's shooting him and stuff, and the stuff that happens behind him with his children is like, you also see like his marriage disintegrate, like, but he just never stops playing the game, and it's just so funny. But it's just like, we've all been there when something important is happening and you're in the middle of something and you're like, no, I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna stop. I'm still playing. I've got this raid to finish, so yeah, we've all done it. But no, I think, like I said, it's really well observed, and it's just super easy to get hold of as well, because it's on 4OD. 2 seasons now, and you'll get through it if you wanted to in like an afternoon. It's like, there's not a lot there, and it's all just very well written and very well performed, and very, very funny at times. Very, very funny, but also like, you go, shit, yeah, that's bad. I do that. So yeah, no, it's good stuff. So that's my little tips to watch if you want to watch stuff during lockdown or whatnot. A couple of good video game related TV shows there. Funny and different perspectives in gaming, and well worth checking out. I take it neither of you have seen either.
No,
not yet. But it sounds like
check
I'm
them
going to
out.
have to get into it really quickly.
I'm still on my first watch through of The Office, so like, I've only just on season 9 this morning.
Oh, you're nearly there.
Nearly finished.
Which office?
Oh my god,
The Office US.
The good off. Well, there's not 9 seasons of the British one, is there, Cam? So,
I don't know.
2 seasons.
For my shame, I haven't watched either.
US Office isn't bad. there are some outstandingly funny moments. There
Yes.
are
I've seen moments.
impactful
I've seen clips. I know who some of the characters are through, again, seeing clips here and there. But I don't know, the kind of like deadpan into the camera sort of sitcom thing that it is, I haven't always kind of been able to dive into. It didn't really feel quite, as enjoyable compared to like a well-rounded sort of sitcom. I don't know why.
Yeah, I get that.
At least it doesn't have Ricky Gervais in it, so
He makes a cameo appearance.
I know what that
in
is.
like 2 episodes. And I'm not a massive Gervais fan myself, so
Me neither,
I was quite pleased. Oh, he's in this for 5 minutes doing a funny bit that's actually funny. Okay, that's fine. Rather than he's being a dick.
They quickly get away from the UK's one and become their own thing. Very quick. After the first season, it basically becomes very much its own production. And yeah, you're well past the peak of it at this point. You're on that downslope, Rob. I remember watching it myself, and it's like, once half the cast leaves, and you're like, they've had to basically almost recast and fill roles and totally change the dynamic because certain people leave the show. It's like, why did you keep going? Why did you keep going? But by then you love the characters so much, as what always happens with sitcoms. It sneaks up on you, and all of a sudden you just love these people and you just care what happens to them.
I'm invested to see what happens with Jim and Pam.
Of course you are.
I'm invested with that. Jim, I side with Jim and I empathise with Jim so much. It's like it's his deadpan looks at the camera when something chaotic is happening, and he just looks at the camera, and it's just like I would do that. If there was a camera, that's exactly what I would do. That's exactly the facial expression I would have. It's
yeah,
and
it's
Dwight.
Very well observed.
Need
it's
I say
good.
more than Dwight?
Oh, Dwight. we've all worked with Dwights.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. If, by the way, Cameron, I think your window is still open. By the way. Just FYI, I feel like the cars are in my head.
Okay.
So...
I will go and close it now.
Right,
I am sorry, everyone. Excuse me.
That's all right, man. No worries. So let's get into the news in a minute. Well, actually, I'll fill some time. Have you watched, Rob? Have you watched yet? Fucking Ready Player One that I lent you.
Yeah.
No, you haven't.
No, I haven't.
You son of a bitch. How many months ago was that? That's 6 months now. I lent you that 4K. 2. Yeah. That's before lockdown 2.
No, it was.
It's before lockdown 2.
No, it was. It was that night I came round, the day before lockdown 2 came into effect.
All right, I'll let you off. It's only been 3 months. You need to watch Ready Player One. It's really good fun. It's really good fun.
I spend so much time at my desk, not at my Xbox, and I want to do it justice and watch it in 4K.
That's why you borrowed it from me on 4K Blu-ray.
Exactly.
But spend some bloody time and watch it. It's a 2-hour film. Watch, get your pizza in, sit down and watch it.
What film is this?
Ready Player One.
You still haven't watched Ready Player One?
I know. He's terrible. He's terrible with films, isn't he? He's absolutely terrible. I actually listened to the audiobook for Ready Player 2. Very disappointing.
Oh, really?
Very disappointing. Really not good. I hope the movie, like the movie that they're going to do, the sequel is like the movie of the first book, which was vastly superior to the book as well. So the sequel book is even worse than the first book. Not good at all. Just they make the lead character utterly insufferable in the second book. The writer does, like, unbelievably annoying. So
as a side note, I don't know how interested you guys are. I mean, I listen to a lot of audiobooks while I'm working and stuff.
Yeah.
A few months ago, they did the Sandman comic books.
I picked this up.
Audible. I think it was done absolutely brilliantly, and they've now greenlit like a part 2 and 3 as well for it because of the reception that's come through. And as an owner of the Sandman comics as well, I can't wait for that. I really can't.
Wait, did you see the casting announcement Netflix put out this week? They've cast the TV show now as well, and Gwendolyn Christie is going to be Lucifer, which I think is pretty cool from a nerdy perspective. That's some cool casting. Rob's like, who is that? That's Captain Phasma.
I know who Gwendolyn Christie is. I don't know who the Sandman is.
I like how you said that.
And also, Brienne of motherfucking Tarth.
Who is the Sandman?
I like how you say it's like, oh yeah, it's the one that plays Captain Phasma. Like we saw her face.
Oh yeah, true. Good point.
It's fucking
good point.
Sir Brienne of Tarth. That's who it is. It's not Captain Phasma. Well, it is, but Captain Phasma was pointless.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Most
You're not wrong
pointless
there,
Star
are you?
Wars character ever.
There was actually
Right
a
now-
really good deleted scene of Phasma, actually. In her defense, that's a really good deleted scene in the second film.
Okay.
Don't know if you saw that one.
I've seen it.
Where-
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to see it. I don't want to spoil it. You need to see it
Okay.
before I can say anything, because I think you'd actually enjoy that.
Okay.
But
'Cause-
it's the thing is though, because the Sandman comic books is set in the DC universe, but as like a they interact occasionally with someone like the heroes of DC, but they are like an eternal character. They are the embodiment of what they are. So you have like the Sandman, known as Morpheus, who's also the Dream Lord. So he's the entity that controls all these dreams. And you have death, you have eternity, and it all revolves around him mooching around. To be honest, for quite a few of the books.
I mean,
But,
it's
like,
typical
in
Neil.
the
It's typical
later-
Neil Gaiman. It's typical Neil Gaiman.
Yeah,
Navel gazing up its own butt. Fucking thinks it's smarter than it actually is. Bollocks. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Neil
Wow.
Gaiman's work.
Really?
I think the comics
Could you
are
not
fine,
tell, Cam?
but- he seems to think of himself as a bit of a literary master, and he's just not that good.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, from the Sandman comic books, actually spawned the Lucifer, like
did,
standalone series,
TV
which
show,
then
yeah.
got turned into the Netflix show.
Mm.
So, even
Which is
though-
actually very entertaining. That
Is
show
it?
is very
Very
entertaining.
entertaining
Yeah.
so they are technically set in the same universe. So it wouldn't be, it wouldn't be a problem if you use the actor from Lucifer to play Lucifer. in the
I
second
think
comic, yeah?
Lucifer is on Amazon and Sandman is on Netflix.
Wrong. Lucifer is on Netflix as well.
Is it on Netflix now? Is it?
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
it was. Yeah, it was Amazon. Then it was Netflix.
It was Amazon, right? Okay.
Because
I do remember
Netflix paid for their last season, I think.
that. So they could, but they can't do that now because they've cast Gwendolyn Christie as Lucifer.
Yeah.
Which is a really cool casting anyway. So that's cool. Anyway, now that we've lost all of our audience because we've not talked about video games for a while, should we talk about some video games? Should we talk about the news? Should we run through the weekly Cyberpunk update? I guess is the one when I
weekly
mention the news on the
segment.
podcast.
Should we get the Cyberpunk segment out of the way because it's
Sure.
starting
Yes,
to
okay.
great.
I mean, yeah, when I mentioned that, I was like, we're doing a podcast, normal podcast. First thing Cameron asked is there more fucking Cyberpunk news? And I was like, yes, I think there's at least two.
Fucking
But
Cyberpunk.
But the reason there's so much Cyberpunk news and the reasons outlets are constantly reporting on it has got a lot to do with the fact
It was
that
poorly
Cyberpunk
managed and
is
is a really bad release of the game. Yes, it is to do with that.
but it's also the biggest digital game launch of all time. So it's 80% of the digital sales were on PC, and it's absolutely fucking massive. So because it's so massive, you know, people want to hear about what's going on with it. Everybody's bought this train wreck, and that's why we keep getting exciting news about it. Exciting news. 10.2 million copies in December. 10.2 million copies. That's just digital, by the way. Right. So a lot of people would have bought it physically as well. I don't even know what to say to that. That's nutty. I mean, that's just the power of marketing, isn't it? I mean, holy crap.
It's a combination of the power of marketing and the upsurge in video games and gaming as a concept and hobby.
I mean, all right, calm down. But I think, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But at the same time, you can't turn around and point at other games that are selling 10 million copies digitally on, 80% on PC. This has been a concerted marketing effort.
The
Which
marketing for the game
it's
was
been
always
incredible.
a success. It's just a shame the game wasn't.
I like it. I like it. I don't love it, but I like it. I mean, I guess, yeah, in more boneheaded CD Projekt Redness, but I guess inevitability. So some modders have been going into the game and fixing it in a lot of cases, but have also given you like more bonky sex time options. Where they bonky sex time options, baby.
Wonderful.
Oh yeah, you know it. So there's this thing you can do in the game where you can have I think, what do they call them, like joy dolls or something like that, where they call the prostitutes in the game, and basically you can go and pay for sex at any time from one of these joy dolls. And what they've done is they've kind of modded the different like major character models onto the joy dolls, so you can have sex with various different characters in that situation. And one of them was Keanu Reeves, his character, so Johnny Silverhand. And the problem there is, of course, that Keanu Reeves actually does have a sex scene as Johnny Silverhand in the game, but it's all from his perspective. And I have a strong suspicion that his contract would probably be very clear about how he would be included and what sort of scenes he would be involved with within the game for the deal to come through. Therefore, CD Projekt Red have slammed down hard on this and basically said to the mod has been removed and that people can't make sex mods with Johnny Silverhand. That's a no-no. But right now when you should be desperately supporting your player base in any way possible, and supporting that community, telling people no, saying being tight about things like that, it's not good, is it? It's not a good idea. It's not a good look. I understand it's probably got a lot to do with legal shit, and therefore they're trying to avoid another lawsuit from this time from Keanu Reeves. But
I disagree entirely with your point there. It is a good thing that they are trying to moderate the modern community on that one, because that's not content that Keanu Reeves consented to be a part of. He consented, as he said, to be part of the contractually included adult scene, but modders are using his direct identity on that sort of thing for other purposes. So yeah, I don't think Keanu would sue, because he's just generally the nicest guy on the planet.
So here's the quote Eurogamer's got from CD Projekt Red. Our most important rule regarding user-generated content, game mods in particular, is that it can't be harmful towards others. In the case of model swaps, especially those that involve explicit situations, it can be perceived as such by the people who lent us their appearance for the purpose of creating characters in Cyberpunk 2077. So yeah, I agree. I agree, Rob. I agree totally from what you're saying, and it is an issue of consent and stuff. However, it's more negative press, or it can be perceived as more negative press aimed towards CD Projekt Red.
Anyone who's viewing this as negative press towards CDPR is an idiot. This is not negative press toward them. They are trying to moderate their community, and I think that is a good thing that they're trying to do. There is no possible benefit they can have by going, yeah, you want a model swap with Keanu Reeves and bang him? Yeah, go for it. That's fine. Go. That shows that they have no control and no ethics, if that's where they're trying to draw their line. So I think they're doing a very good thing.
No. Rob defended CDPR around Cyberpunk.
Cam, you didn't see that coming.
I did not see that coming.
Just kind of dreaming about the vibrate function on that Silverhand.
Oh my god! Oh Cam, I love you so much. That is the Cam comment I was hoping for. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that there has to be a limit to a certain mods that you can really do on certain games. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the news, but there was this really big mod for Fallout New Vegas.
I did see this. The one that's got
recently.
Yeah, because of the creator being a racist.
More somewhat pedophilic, actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, even some would argue worse, some would argue not.
I think most would say worse.
Yeah, probably.
Most would say worse.
But yeah, he's one of the guys, the creators, is been found to have some kind of not safe for work kind of stuff going on there. But there's a point in the mod, because there's a whole new area, quests and NPCs you can interact with, where you can take a teenage girl as a slave, with the implication that she maybe can do some things for you, sort of thing, which is just borderline straight onto no territory,
Well, it's just no on so many levels.
Yeah,
I mean,
and so
the oh my god,
the entire mod's been pulled off of.
Now, I believe this is a big project involving multiple team members and all kinds of things. Yeah, it wasn't just one guy, was it?
Yeah. It's a huge mod. It's a huge undertaking. It's basically revamped the entire game as well. The whole new huge map. It's called the Frontier, I think it was called. So I think I haven't looked too much into the actual gameplay of it. Just more the actual controversial part of it, really, to be honest. It looked good, but yeah, it was those kind of implications where it's just
yeah. There are lines, aren't there? There are
Yeah.
lines, and you have to draw them somewhere. I suppose the counter to what Rob is saying about the consensual elements of Johnny is that Keanu had already signed over his likeness, so it's not a case of like the deep fake technology using people's likenesses without permission at all. So there is a level of consent that has already been given and is implicit. However, it's not explicit. So it's therefore that CD Projekt have drawn a line there as well. And I think, but it's one of those things where it's a bit unfortunate that those explicit guidelines were not already in the EULA, we're not already in the mod tools, we're not already there for the users and have had to be kind of retrofitted. It's like, of course they're gonna do that. I mean, isn't it obvious that that's what's gonna get done in a game like that? When you've got isn't it? I mean, call me crazy. That's like the first thing that modders do, isn't it? They put more sex in a game. Like whenever this is the internet, it's full of horny dudes in basements who are good at computers, and they're gonna want more sex in anything, like literally in anything and everything. So it's like, of course they're gonna do that. So it's like, how did they not anticipate this? But hey, there you go. They've made good now, I suppose. Let's move on to. I like this bit of news because it's really sort of not news, but also hype. So this is a weird place to get your breaking video game news, but the Best Bin Bulletin, which is our hot Star Wars podcast, got the scoop that there is a Knights of the Old Republic game in development, and it's not being worked on by EA, and we don't know. You'll never guess. The quote is, "We'll never guess what studio is working on the project."
Bethesda.
So. I mean, you're trying to guess, but they've said we'll never guess, Rob. So do you want to try again?
Bungie?
Bungie, there you go, still guessing. Who else can we guess?
Ubisoft.
Visceral. Ubisoft, we know they say, obviously we know Ubisoft is working on a game, but they've also said it's nothing we've heard of already. Like, so it's kind of implying that someone else is doing this. And there's been rumors for a while that, the kind of rumor actually is that it's not a sequel. It's more like a remake and reboot of it, combining elements from the first two games, and then sort of maybe doing a bit more as well. Because it's been too long for a sequel. A lot of people wouldn't even remember those games. However, I think if you take the best bits of it, you kind of modernize it, because that combat and stuff in the first Knights of the Republic doesn't play great now. So if you modernize it and you bring it up into kind of a more of a kind of current gameplay, maybe a bit more Mass Effect-y and action RPG. I think that could work really well. I mean, did you guys play KOTOR? Do you have fond memories of KOTOR?
Always, yeah.
Never played it, unfortunately.
Oh, Rob, as a Star Wars fan as well, mate.
Yeah.
Oh, you should go back. It is difficult to go back to it. Yeah, no, fair. I mean, it's difficult to go back to KOTOR because it plays weird.
Very different, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very strange gameplay experience now with this weird turn-based combat, and it's very tabletop RPG, isn't it? That's what it kind of feels like. Dice rolls and all behind the scenes. Like you'll get into combat and then it's turn-based, and then your hit percentages are all based on your stats, and literal dice rolls are happening to determine strikes and stuff. So it doesn't play like a modern game, and it doesn't really feel much in that way as like much of a Star Wars game, especially when when you get your lightsaber and stuff. Spoilers. It feels like your lightsaber it only works sometimes almost.
Yeah.
So because the dice roll.
Yeah, you may as well be using one of the knives.
Yeah, because when you starting this game, you don't even have you're not a Jedi, and you like fight with vibro blades and shit, which is pretty cool. Actually,
there's a Star Wars game where you get a lightsaber. No, that can't be right.
It's shocking, isn't it? You're shocked. I'm shocked.
Yeah, Dark Forces 1.
Does he get a lightsaber in Dark Forces 1? I thought it was later.
2.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's the only Star Wars game I know where you don't get a lightsaber, Rob.
Yeah.
No, there is another one.
Be others.
There is another one. Star Wars Squadrons.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, good point. Good point. Yeah.
Technically, Jedi Starfighter does have a lightsaber because you play as
they are Jedi. Yeah. I mean, you have fucking force powers when flying, if I remember in those games. That was weird.
Yeah, exactly right.
What?
Strange game. Strange game.
It was a weird one. I'll give you that one.
So that's
I'm assuming if this is going to be overhyped news, then the studio must be CD Projekt Red.
Oh, oh.
Coming full circle, boys.
CD Projekt Red making a Knights of the Old Republic game. Yeah, I play it.
Actually, yeah, that's the sound.
Play that.
I would
play that.
I'd get over my prejudices to play that.
I mean, I think it's crazy. We talked about.
I might get it on the PS6 when it comes out. On,
Pretty much. I mean, I think it's crazy to me that you guys have both avoided Cyberpunk. Neither of you have played it. I think it's mind blowing to me. But after all the discussion around it,
it never attracted me in the first place. Hugely, because and then I watched the launch and laughed. I'm not buying that game.
I'm hesitant to buy any games right now for my PS4. Not because it's dying, which it is, but it's games like this which are coming out on PS5, which are going to run so much better. So I'm hesitant to buy anything right now lately. And it's that sort of game I think I'd prefer to play on a console anyway, instead of playing it on like the PC. So that's why I haven't really given it a go. I'd like to see the hype, and I'd like to see the cock-ups, mainly them. But
literally with Cyberpunk.
I just want to buy something for an old console at this point now. I'm finally waiting for my PS5 when I get one day.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
I'm at the point where I'm actually looking into trying to buy an Xbox 360.
Oh, okay. What you want to play? What are you trying to play?
There are old Dynasty Warrior games.
Fucking Rob, what?
That I have been really feeling recently, and I'm gonna get ripped the shit out.
Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah.
Dynasty Warriors. Oh my god.
I think I still have Christina's old Xbox 360 under my bed. I'll come deliver it to you one day.
Does it have an HDMI port?
Yeah.
Then yes. Hi.
I think I've even bought the network adapter separately, and if I still have the games, then you could even have Jedi Academy with it, which is a great game.
Good game.
We
right, so
anyway.
let's move on to the other recurring segment we have at the moment, which is a game has been delayed.
I think we're recurring segment. It's the second time.
What do you mean? No, I don't think so. I mean, literally, I think I've announced every week for every podcast we've done for the last sort of like flipping 4 months has been news of a game getting delayed.
Yeah, but this one is a game no one really gives a crap about.
I think people cared about this. This is Daedalus Entertainment's Lord of the Rings Gollum has now just gone back into 2022. So I do think that's such a weird. Like, they must have a good idea for that, because like, why would you want to be Gollum in a Lord of the Rings game? I mean, he's like, tell me if I'm wrong, Rob, but he's a pretty boring character, isn't he? Don't you think?
He has an interesting backstory, personally.
He has an interesting. Sorry, Cam.
No.
He has an interesting story, and his character is used very well. He is produced incredibly well in the movies, and I'm sure written very well in the books. But I just can't remember the last time I read them. Of all the characters in the game, he is the last one on a list I would choose to make a game about.
Yeah. So this is what Daedalic is shooting for: subtle tactical stealth, environmental puzzling, climbing challenges, and fast-paced parkour action.
Sorry, I just think of Gollum as parkour master.
So Mirror's Edge.
I mean, well, no, I'm just every parkour video I've ever seen has got an insufferable French person in it, so I'm just imagining Gollum with some kind of beret, smoking a cigarette and chewing on a baguette, going around. Oh, watch me jump over this gap. So it's a very new take on Gollum. Sorry, French listeners.
Wow.
But yeah, I think that might have something to do with Daedalic. I believe Daedalic is a European developer as well. So maybe that's where the parkour inspirations come from. I do not know. But
I would rather have a game about the political intricacies of Rohan than about fucking Gollum. With no combat, nothing. Literally just a farming simulator in Rohan. That's what I would prefer to play in a Lord of the Rings game than Lord of the Rings Gollum.
Okay, so moving on. Let's move on to the next. Let's move on to the next news story, which I think this story is fun because the internet is not happy about this news for a large part. However, what were you expecting from the developers of Borderlands? This should indicate to you the level of seriousness they are taking with this project. I mean, of course, Kevin Hart is going to play Roland in the Borderlands movie. I mean, it wasn't going to be Denzel Washington, was it? I mean, what?
Their
Who
first
did you think
casting
it was
was
going to
Kate
be?
Blanchett, for God's sake. So actually, Denzel Washington may not have actually been a terrible choice.
Is Kate Blanchett going to be
I'm assuming
Lilith?
Yes. So actually, they do have a credibility for picking a fucking amazing actor or actress.
I don't think Kate Blanchett's going to be in this movie.
She's signed and confirmed.
Oh, because that never goes back. She's dropping off this movie. I'll put money on that. Kate Blanchett is not going to be in this movie. There's no way.
I mean, Roland's too damn short. Okay, that's the thing. Sorry, Kevin Hart's too damn short to play this macho Roland. If they really wanted to have a great casting, and let's be honest, because that's what they're doing nowadays, is sticking Kevin Hart in with The Rock. Okay, The Rock could be Roland. Kevin Hart could be Claptrap.
No,
The Rock can be Brick. Can't Rock be Brick?
It's exactly what I was going to say.
Even better, yeah. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
He could even be the Psycho character. What's the Psycho's name? I can't remember.
That's in Borderlands 2.
Oh, do you think they're going to care about any of that?
It depends what Borderlands movie they make.
Oh, what important central storyline that they follow?
Damn right. I tell you what,
as long as Handsome Jack and Butt Stallion is in it, I'm happy. That's all.
So therefore, you do care about the storyline because that's actually Borderlands 2, not Borderlands 1. So maybe you should wind yourself back.
The Borderlands 2 storyline is a lot better than the Borderlands 1. Well, I mean, Borderlands 1 has no story for Winter the Purple.
Borderlands 2 has
a collection of settings.
Amazing story.
I wouldn't say that. It has a collection of set pieces. But
Shut up.
So I'd like two things. Okay, so I'd like two things. One, if you could have Ashley Birch come in and live action.
Just no.
I
would
completely different.
Agreed with Cameron on this one. Completely agreed. Yes, we need her as Tinytina.
I believe can somebody Google this for me quickly? But if you like Ashley Birch, I believe she's got one of the lead roles in Mythic Quest.
She is.
I'm pretty sure she's in Mythic Quest. Yeah. So there you go. I kind of find her somewhat insufferable, but so she has her fans. That's fair enough. But I don't know. Tinytina, I feel like this is the thing, right? If you're going to pick the good characters, yes, you can't just do Borderlands 1, can you? I mean, the memorable characters, most of them come out too. I mean, so it's like you kind of need to do a bit of a mishmash. But there's so little real story in Borderlands. It's just the setup. Group of people, oppressive regime, trying to find some treasure. Like, that's kind of what you need to do. And it gives you a lot of freedom.
You can extrapolate a movie out of that easily.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm saying, so you don't need to follow the story specifically, do you? You can just do something fun. You know, it's a Magnificent Seven situation, isn't it? It's like, let's bring this cast of interesting characters together and do fun stuff with them. You know, like an Ocean's movie is another good example. It's basically a heist thing, isn't it? So you can just do a fun sci-fi heist movie, action. Gotta have Handsome Jack as the villain, and robots and stuff.
Thing. Who would you like to have if Handsome Jack was to be a character in the film? Who would play him? Who's got the charisma, and that kind of attitude? It's a puzzler, isn't it?
I've got one. Kevin Bacon.
I was going to go Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, it's not bad too, but he's very American, Handsome Jack, to me. And I'm sure I've seen Benedict do American acting, it's not good.
Loki.
Oh, Hiddleston, again, Brit. He's British, though, again, but he does an alright American accent.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, but
Kevin Bacon's actually not a bad shout.
I feel like Handsome Jack's got to be older, and it needs to be someone that's kind of like rests on the laurels of his previous handsomeness and success. So that's why I kind of went Kevin Bacon.
That's not Handsome Jack at all.
He's definitely older, though.
He has an artificial face grafted on top of his because he's got a massive, great big vault-shaped burn on his face.
They're probably not going to do that. So, I mean, it's
they should. It's part of the story.
Yeah, but look at how they handle...
You're talking to a Borderlands fanboy here, Ben. You're not
movie adaptations... movie adaptations never do big disfiguring scars on people who are movie stars, right? You've only got to look at Mortal Engines and Ready Player One, both of which have got female protagonists who are meant to have big facial disfiguring scars / birthmarks.
Spoiler
And they
for
basically
Ready
just go,
Player One.
nah. So they just don't do it.
Spoiler for Ready Player One. There. Yes, it is.
It's not a spoiler.
Yes,
it's not a spoiler that she doesn't
is.
have a scar or a birthmark.
Maybe I was expecting a scar or a birthmark. Anyway,
You've not read the book.
Shut up. Anyway, that's irrelevant.
I think Kevin Hart's good casting. I actually weirdly watched. I've watched a lot of crap Netflix movies while playing games in the last few weeks. Seen a lot of Kevin Hart in movies. Like all right, Ride Along I had on, and that was Kevin Hart, and I was at the that one with Will Ferrell about like getting tough for prison. I can't remember what that was called. That's Kevin Hart. Get Hard, yeah, that's Kevin Hart. And it's just like I've seen quite a lot, and he is funny. He is good at what he does, like in Jumanji as well and stuff. And it's like, I just think, if you actually look at the characters, there's most of them weirdly in Borderlands are very self-serious, except for say Tinytina and stuff. There's a few that aren't, but most are very self-serious. So yeah, so it brings some comedy into the central cast. I think that will make it a little bit more interesting and a little bit more like, firing off each other. So I think that's cool. I still don't think Cate Blanchett will be in the movie, but I think that's cool.
I also have another question. At what point do we start arguing like an old married couple, Ben?
Oh, we're well past that, brother.
Yeah,
well past that. That's what people tune in for.
I just sit here and mute myself while Mummy and Daddy are fighting. That's all I do.
Let's move on to some more kind of like video game adaptation news. Netflix is doing an animated Tomb Raider movie, and it's interesting because I think we were talking about Tomb Raider like maybe last time or time before, and we were talking about the movie, and it's like whatever. I kind of feel the same about an animated Netflix show. It's like whatever. I mean, I'll check it out. I'm more looking forward to the Assassin's Creed TV show, definitely. But yeah, I will give it a look. See what they do with it. It'd be interesting to see what bit of Tomb Raider they're going for and what they're adapting. I bet you it's from the beginning of the reboot stuff again, but like we've already seen in the movie. But
you will like this. You will continue to watch it.
I just feel like they'll keep doing that because it's the kind of the most recent in to that universe. So they'll keep trying until it works, sort of thing. I think what we'll get with animated is there'll be more supernatural stuff. They'll go more heavily into the fantastical elements of Tomb Raider because because it's animated and it's easy to I wouldn't mind seeing her fighting a giant dinosaur again. Like let's go back to OG all the way back. That would be cool. I mean, you can get away with that.
They said it's going to be a pick up after the events of the latest game trilogy.
Okay.
So that could be like, a couple of months afterwards where she's still young, or it could be where she's quite a bit older and we end up with kind of a badass, Angelina Jolie-esque Lara Croft sort of thing.
See some dual wielding and some, diving shooting.
Impossible backflips. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. No hand backflips. It's always impressive. Like why not keep an eye on it though? It's more content is king. More content on Netflix. We love that. Bring it out. We'll watch it. We'll check it out. Moving swiftly along. Oh no, Rob, go on. You got something.
I was about to move us on.
Sorry. You were. Okay, yes. Go on. I'll let you segue us then. Go on.
Indeed, I think I have something against games beginning with the letter C. Because we now have a new story about Control.
Let's
Ultimate Edition.
Let's sort of. We need to frame it because it's to do with the Plus announcements. But yeah, so awesome games, right? So PlayStation comes out with their February lineup of games, and they're really good. They've got Control Ultimate Edition. They've got Destruction All Stars, which is this weird like car vehicle combat thing, but also with people on foot, and it looks a bit like a Fortnite thing, and it's like I don't know what's going on, but it's a new game and it's PS5, and that looks really good. And then what was the other? There was one more.
Concrete Genie or something?
Yes, that was kind of like a socially aware action platformy kind of game. Yeah, so that a really good lineup, especially Control Ultimate Edition. I was like, fuck, that's so cool because you're getting Control on your PS4 and then the Ultimate Edition, which will run on your PS5, I believe. And it's like, that's brilliant. What good news? Who could not like that? Oh, they found a way. So people aren't happy because people have pre-ordered the Ultimate Edition and paid for it on PlayStation well in advance, expecting its release at the start of February. And now it's going to be free. They want their refund. They want money back, baby. They want money back. How do you guys feel about that?
Completely justified in the community there. Completely justified. That's making a buck off your player base. That's what that is.
Cameron? I'm curious.
I would want my money back. The amount of times that I have trolled through latest deals and like under £16 and stuff to save some money for a new game to pass the time and stuff like that, only for it to end up on PlayStation Plus a month or two afterwards, has been a disgusting amount of time. I can't remember the last thing I bought off the top of my head that ended up on the PlayStation Plus, but I sat there just going, are you fucking kidding me? For about 5 minutes in a rage.
I think it's a bit different to that. I mean, I think in that situation, SOL, right? Because sales happen. You can't always expect to get your money back if something goes on sale the next day. You've made your choice, right?
Yeah.
That's the nature of commerce and retail and whatever.
It's
the difference
crappy,
here, yeah, it's crappy, but it's just you just have to accept that. If you made the purchase when you made it. The difference here is that it's a pre-order. So it's like you've pre-ordered this game. It's not even come out yet, and now when it's coming out, it's basically going to be free for people that didn't pre-order it, that didn't say to you, to the company, we want to support you. We really want this product. It's another reason why pre-ordering is becoming increasingly a bad idea. Like you shouldn't do it. But basically, I can sort of see where these people are coming from, but at the same time, right? Control has specifically the publishers of Control, they do have a history of being fucking cunts. So
says you, who just laps it up and buys whatever they buy. I'm waiting for you to turn around next week and say, so I sourced a PS5 so I could play Control Ultimate Edition on the PlayStation 5.
So 505 Games have got previous, right? So the way they've handled this next gen upgrade has been not cool. Like, let's put it, and especially now that they've done this on PlayStation, and they're basically therefore giving this upgrade for free to the PlayStation community, whereas Xbox is getting none of that. So yeah, and look, I bought it. I bought Ultimate Edition when it was on sale around New Year's because I got it for like 15 quid. It was half price. Me and Richard both caved.
Still not forgiving you both for that.
I know, and therefore, but the thing is, at the same time, we made our choice. We were informed consumers. We knew what was going on. We still made that choice. So this is still different because what's happened here is that the announcement of this has obviously happened just prior, very, very close to this freebie being made available to Plus subscribers. So all these people that pre-ordered months ago, because the actual upgrade was delayed by quite a few months as well, so everybody was expecting it at sort of the end of last year, have been pretty heavily screwed here, and I bet they don't get refunds. No. I'm almost certain Sony will not give them a refund for that, 100%. based on their response to CD Projekt Red saying you can get refunds for the game was to pull the game from the store. Like, they do seem to be quite nuclear in this, is that, yeah, we ain't giving money back to anybody ever, basically. Like, you have to somehow prove that this game has bricked your console before we even consider it. Like, they are the tightest of all three major platform holders when it comes to the refunds. So I would be very surprised if anything went back to those people. I can guarantee you, based on 505's responses to previous controversy, they ain't going to do anything out of their pocket.
Their response will be, oh, boo-hoo, poor you. That will be their response.
You made your choice.
Yeah.
So it's kind of... That's what it kind of comes down to.
Relating back to your point about pre-ordering games being just a continually bad idea,
it's getting worse.
I will pre-order games about 2 days before they're due for release. Because by that point, everything has been announced and confirmed, but you still get the pre-order bonus DLCs, which they entice you with. So you get the best of both worlds. I won't pre-order stuff several months out. I'll just go, okay, delivery will be for release if I pre-order it now. Pre-order.
I see what you're doing, and it makes sense a lot of the time. But look at Cyberpunk. That would have still screwed you with Cyberpunk.
Yes, indeed.
Because the content of those console versions was not made available to the reviewers. No. So we still didn't know, even 2 days beforehand, how that game was going to perform the then current hardware. So
that's just gross misconduct from CDPR.
Soz, we thought it'd be all right. Soz, which is basically what they said in that statement a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, so I don't know. I used to be big on pre-ordering. I'm a big kind of guy that believes, why not get excited about games? Why not get hyped? I think it's cool that people can get hyped for stuff and into it, and you build a community and a fan base, and there's lots of positivity, and that's great. I think that's what we want in entertainment. It's escapism and fun. So I'm all about that, and I think these big AAA these situations that are just increasingly taking advantage of their biggest fans is quite gross, and it really needs to stop. And it's just there seems to be a story like this more often now, and it just seems to come up more and more and more. And it's COVID, or economics. Excuse. You know what you're doing. You've got a lot of money to throw around, and you know what you're doing and how to make more. And it's a bit of a bummer. So I don't know why I did it in that accent. That was weird, wasn't it?
Yeah. That was
should we move on to the next story?
I do agree with everything you said there. To be fair, it's becoming a systemic thing that is coming up more and more and more, where game companies are just trying to pull the wool over their community's eyes to make money.
It certainly feels that way, doesn't it? It does seem to be moving in that direction. And I don't like to think like that. I like to believe that a lot of these people don't try and fuck people over, especially when the world we're in right now. We need less of that, not more of it. But anyway, next story, Ninja Theory. You remember Ninja Theory, guys? These are the Hellblade developers, but they brought out a weird game, sort of like this time last year.
Yeah.
Bleeding Edge. Anybody remember that? It was like a
punchy Overwatch. That's what it was.
Punchy character-based Overwatch. I played about 5 minutes of it and went, "This is not for me," because it was on Game Pass, because it's like a first-party studio and stuff. So I went straight into Game Pass. I gave it a little go. It's not for me. Turns out everybody thought that. Gave it a little go. Not for me. I could see what they were doing. And after less than a year, they are not going to do any further support for the game. It's done. I believe the servers are staying up. I didn't see anything to indicate that was coming down or anything straight away. But no more content, no more characters, no more maps. This didn't work. And I think...
Do you know what the key lesson here is? Don't fuck with Blizzard IP. You try and make an Overwatch ripoff, you failed.
I think what you're going to see increasingly over the next few years, now that Blizzard no longer really exists, is that Blizzard is going to fuck with Blizzard IP. And Overwatch 2, I'm expecting 100% to be a massive failure. Look, you've only got to look at how badly that Warcraft 3 remaster was handled. You got, they're starting to go into this territory of Blizzard doesn't exist. It's just a name. But the people who were Blizzard are long gone. It's
more of the fact that their IPs and the games they've created, like how many MMOs come out to try and compete with WoW, and how many of them survive? Basically none. It takes an astonishingly good MMO to be able to keep a player base even as close to the size of WoW's.
I think we're in this weird place now where MMOs don't come out. What we have instead are the massively multiplayer online survival games, and they do really well. So you look at like Green Hell, you look at Conan, those types of games which are kind of MMOs but kind of survival games, and it's like that's where that whole genre has moved. It's like everybody's just like, WoW can just have that. We don't need to even try. Like,
people
have fun
and failed.
But the trick is now it's you say that, but you say failed, but like ESO does really well. Crimson Desert does really well, but the reason by it is they're free to play. So they're now free to play, and their support that keeps those products going is the microtransactions, is the additional content and stuff like that. But nobody's trying to do the Blizzard model anymore. Not just in that way. They know that doesn't work, and they just let them tick along, just let them do their thing. It doesn't matter. But I think you're talking. I mean, the other genres is yes. So the multiplayer battle arenas that use character-based battle arenas, and then the other one would be isometric action RPGs. So, but I think what we've seen with the action RPG market as well is that there are successes. Path of Exile comes to mind. Again, lots of free-to-play ones. Like this is the thing. Torchlight, which is using like a mixed model and stuff. So. I don't necessarily think it's because they went up against Overwatch and failed. I just think the game was just a bit meh. It was cool. It had there was a lot of we're taking a shot at being all fun and different and quirky and ableist and trying to appeal to edgy people but it didn't have the strongest identity. I think that's the problem. Is the characters in that game. When you look at the characters, they feel really disparate. Like
They
there's not
look
like a
like
connective
Overwatch.
universe. They look like Overwatch.
Rip-offs. But it was that's what it
I mean,
screamed to me. But at that point, I wasn't doing any sort of video game journalism or any of that sort of stuff. I was literally just pure consumer. I looked at the first 20 seconds of that trailer and thought, oh, new characters for Overwatch. Oh, no, never mind, not Overwatch.
I know what you mean, yeah. I do know what you mean.
Yeah,
I do know what you mean.
Yeah.
But I mean, you say that, but you I mean, like other companies doing exactly the same. But look at Rainbow Six. When did that turn into fucking Overwatch? I used to think that was like some kind of military sim type thing. Nope. Those characters are basically superheroes now. It's very strange where that game's gone.
You've got other games as well, like Valorant came out last year, I think it was, which is very, very similar to like Overwatch as well. But I had a friend who used to work for Blizzard and used to play Overwatch all the time. She loved it, and when this came out, she wasn't exactly like pissed off, but she was kind of like, "The hell is this shit?" You know, this is, you know, it does look like a copy, you know, and that's the thing though. And she was just sort of like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I didn't make this."
But I mean, heavily inspired by, and I mean, obviously, I don't think they can deny that. However, you know, they took a punt, and that's the way. This is a studio known at the time, especially as somewhere based in, you know, very artistic single player experiences. So they had a B studio, you know, they ramped up this concept. They took a punt, and it didn't land. And I think these, you know, when you're looking at GAS games as service, you know, these kind of games that are gonna live on die by the community support, there's no point in having them limp on. I saw concurrent Steam player count of in the last few months has been something like around 30 players at a time.
Ooh.
So when your numbers get down there, it's time to pull the plug. Pull the plug. No point, is there? There's just no point.
If there are more
hello over the face.
If there are more fingers in a traditional family unit than there are players in the world playing your game, then I think you need to give up.
And that's what they've done. Yeah. That's what they've done.
Mother, father, child, 30 fingers. There are...
It's about 35 for us.
Well, you know what they say about Guildford. Anyway.
Hey, I was born on the Isle of Wight. We've all got web.
Oh, dear God.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Dexter's got a flipper that comes out of his back, hasn't he? I mean,
yeah.
So what happens when you make deals with the old ones, Cam? You know it never ends well. Never ends well.
You told me it would be fine, Cthulhu.
I wish I was wearing a Cthulhu shirt today. I almost did. Anyway, what's happened with Bleeding Edge reminds me of Battleborn from Gearbox. Do you remember that disaster of a game that played well but was awful?
Yes.
That's what it reminds me of.
I think we're at a point. Actually, we're at a point. I think where there's more failures than successes for games like this. And that's okay if you've got the resources to eat that. Good. I mean, I hope it's nothing wrong with taking a punt. I like the fact that the developers try new stuff, that they try to step out of their wheelhouses and, you know, back a B team that's come up with a bonkers idea and has some fun artwork. And it's like, yeah, we got an idea for this. Let's give it a shot. And it's like, I don't think all of them are cynical cash grabs. I think sometimes it's just, it doesn't work. And you know, what was the other one recently? The Xbox one. Oh yeah, the guy who made the design to Master Chief, Disintegration. So that game with the weird hover sleds had a whole multiplayer aspect, which they pulled the plug on after 3 months because nobody was playing it. So they just went, nobody's playing it. We're going to turn the servers off. You can still play the single player campaign. You can still buy the game for that if you want, but multiplayer, donezo, switched off. And it's just like, why just waste resources, especially if you're a smaller studio, right? You have to pay for those costs of keeping that up and running. So just cut it. You know, it has to be done. Final bit of news. You guys, I don't know if you're Sonic people or not. So do you know who Roger Craig Smith is?
I believe he is the Sonic the Hedgehog voice actor, right?
Well, he's not anymore. You are, but he's not anymore. He's sped off into the distance. Cam, were you ever a big Sonic guy? Any of you like Sonic? You know, just in general, the games and stuff.
Yeah. I used to grow up playing a lot of the Sonic games on the old Mega Drive. It was like one of the first ones I can think of. One of the first games I can think of having a console other than like a PC. in the Mega Drive for us.
Hmm.
But I mean, I followed Roger Craig Smith on quite a few projects. He's not just Sonic, obviously. He's been quite a few different voices in animation and TV as well.
Can we name any? Because I have no idea who this person is right now.
Well, in my off the top of my head, he is the voice of Batman in a couple of projects. I think Batman Ninja, the anime one he was in. He has been. Oh, you're really testing me here. It's really annoying. I'm pretty sure he voiced Ezio actually in the Assassin's Creed games.
Indeed, he
It
did.
does say that. It does say this at the bottom of the article.
This
Yes.
also,
Well
I've
done.
noticed the most beautiful typo in this article. So this is straight from the Eurogamer page. He's also known for playing Ezio Auditore de Friends in the Assassin's Creed series, Chris Redfield in the Resident Evil series, Mirage in Apex Legends, and Batman in Batman Arkham Oranges.
That can't be accidental. Has to be intentional. It's the last word of the article. There's no way that was accidental. That must have been on purpose.
That's made my day.
My God, that has to be correct. Emma Kent,
God.
Emma Kent, we love you. I hope that was on purpose. She's the writer of the article. That is insane. I'm just gonna see the comments.
Oranges.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
And
Emma.
Man swings in.
the latest thing I can
Quid for a bag of oranges.
the most recent thing I can think of, he voiced one of the characters in Apex Legends when he got announced in 2019, I think it was.
Mirage.
Yes, thank you, Mirage. I'm just having a quick look online, but
We've done it. It's okay.
He's actually a mad merchant in Remnant from the Ashes, which I believe you played, didn't you, Ben?
Like 5 minutes of it, yeah.
Clearly a big fan.
Not a huge amount. I mean, for me, the biggest one there is Ezio. Like, obviously, I absolutely adored that series of games, and I had no idea that was Sonic. That's bizarre to me that was also the guy who does Sonic, because I can't even think of what Sonic sounds like except from the movie. I haven't even seen the movie, but that recent movie where it's voiced by the guy from Parks and Rec. I can't even imagine Sonic sound like anything else. Like I can't think of any like Sonic sound bites or anything. I just it's not something I consider. Like, whereas Mario, everybody knows what Mario sounds like, but
that's pretty much it. He says,
to me, a Mario.
Well, Sonic, I mean,
Anyway.
it's mainly in the later games, like Sonic Heroes, where he actually has some, or worse, like Sonic and the Black Knight. Or Sonic Boom or Sonic 06, the terrible ones.
I don't know what any of
Sonic
these games
Heroes. Sonic Heroes was awesome.
Sonic Heroes was brilliant, but it's like the latest ones at Sonic 06 was like heralded as one of the worst games made.
We don't talk about that game.
Exactly. And he's always got this really kind of high pitch on cocaine, hey everybody, I like chili dogs kind of thing going on. That's pretty much all Sonic sounds like. And his obsession with chili dogs is huge.
All right, yeah, chili dog's good. I like a chili dog. Fair play, Sonic.
Fair
well, he's not doing it anymore. For whatever reason, I don't think they really say why, but he's not going to voice Sonic anymore. He's on the outskis with Sega for some reason. But good luck to you, sir.
Indeed. Talking of chili dogs, shall we go for our dinner date now? Moving on to our topic for the week.
Ooh. Would you order? I wouldn't order a chili dog when I was on a date.
Not even
that would be a
my
risky
top
choice.
30 things would I order.
I mean, like, think of the mess potential there.
I'm more along the lines of if I was catfished, then maybe.
What do you mean if you were catfished?
Oh, it's favourable pictures in the good light, and it turns out not that great in person.
It's like you going on Tinder and putting pictures of Brad Pitt there instead of yourself.
Yeah, but I mean, I know what catfishing is. But what I don't understand is why would you eat a chili dog if you'd been catfished?
Because then you don't really need to care.
Exactly, yeah. When you know the night's over, you stop caring. Screw it, I'm getting chili dogs.
Chili dogs and 4 tequilas, please. Yeah.
Yes, please.
So yeah,
I don't know.
I believe it is our second date between the three of us, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, that is what I would actually order if either of you two walked into a restaurant and headed to my table. Okay. If you were my blind date, fuck, chili dog, 4 tequilas, please.
Not again. Why do they keep setting me up with these guys? Yeah. Okay, that's a whole nother conversation. So, all right then, I will start us off then. with the first question. We're continuing from last week. If you haven't listened to last week's amazing podcast or seen it on YouTube, we started off with our first date video game questions, and now it's second date, I guess. We had more, so we enjoyed it so much last week. We're bringing it back this week as well. So yeah, we had kind of some like intro ones last week, but we're gonna get more into it now. We're gonna get more in depth. Yeah, baby. More intimate. We're gonna see if you're coming home with me. That's what it's all about. So, what was your first game, Cameron?
So, the first game that is this like what I've bought myself, or just I remember playing?
I don't know. Well, tell us both.
First game that I can recall playing again. If you guys didn't listen to the previous podcast, I played a lot with my family, my two brothers and sister, and we'd sit around the same PC. But the earliest one I can remember playing is Maniac Mansion. Yeah,
classic.
like the precursor to Day of the Tentacle or Ron Gilbert. Awesome. And as far as like the first game I remember buying myself with pocket money was, I think it might have been Pokemon Red, original Red. Yes, as the arm goes up. Because
coming home with me. No.
Get your cool cam, you've pulled.
I got a Game Boy Advance like one Christmas, and then I got pocket money from my granddad, and it was just like, what are you gonna get? You're gonna get yourself a new toy? It's like, I want to get something for my Game Boy, and so we went over to, at the time, Electronics Boutique, because that was the one that was around back then, the relic that it was. And then I was like, oh wow, Pokemon, it's a red one, awesome. So I'm gonna get that one. And the rest, as I say, is history. And it was
cool, man. I mean, I feel like Rob's going to give pretty much the same answer.
Pokemon Gold,
which we covered last week. So that's the first game you played, as well as your favorite game, and oh wow, that's you whippersnappers.
It had quite an impact on me, as you can tell. First game I remember buying, however, was in Woolworths of all places. If you guys remember that institution,
of course.
I still have dreams about that pick and mix section.
I'm not really one for sweets. I prefer chocolate.
Yeah, chocolate pick and mix. Chocolate pick and mix, yeah, baby.
So I'd always just go for the chocolates, like those Snaz discs or something that had like chocolate and like the sugar sprinkles on top. Yeah, I would just fill a crate with them.
So, a memory that my mum actually brought up recently that I didn't actually remember was we used to have a dual layered buggy. So I was on the underneath. My sister was on the buggy bit on top, and she was, because she's younger than me.
Is that because your mum didn't want to look at you? Yeah, sorry.
Pretty much, yeah. Still doesn't.
I understand.
Usually turn off the webcam on Zoom calls and stuff.
Tell me about screams.
Apparently, she just remembers like we went round to McDonald's with my brothers and everything like that. Got my sister into a high chair. Got a high chair for me, but apparently I was just laying back and just snacking on a handful of sweets that I picked out of the pick and mix secretly from underneath. I was like, "Oh yeah, sweet." No.
You
these
bloody
must be complimentary.
Who is he? Is he Stewie from Family Guy? I love the idea that he comes up with the word complimentary. Oh, complimentary sweets. What?
I can't pay for these, so I'm just gonna take them.
I love you stole the sweets.
Yes.
The first game I remember buying was for the PlayStation 2. When I was in year 8 at school, my mum bought me one of the slimline PlayStation 2s after a particularly rough year for various personal reasons, and she bought a few games for me along with it. I then went to Woolworths with her on errands one Saturday morning and picked up Final Fantasy X2. And that was
which you were playing recently as well.
With my pocket money at the time. And yeah, I've been playing the remaster for that. I continually buy the remaster for that game everywhere it is published. I'm like you with Control with FFX2. But with an actually good game.
Mate, Control is so good. Control is so good.
I really need to try it. What was your first game, Ben? Come on,
man. This is really hard. This is really, 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 really hard because I had different eras of gaming. It was kind of like, I know I played games when I was really, really young, but I wasn't into them. And it was like, but then I kind of remember getting into PC gaming, but then I kind of got into console gaming after that. So I've not done stuff in a conventional way. So I'm trying to remember the first game. I mean, I know I talked about that Pong thing, but I almost don't consider that the same thing because that was just a stupid, it wasn't really barely even anything, like, I have strong memories of playing, like the pack-in games you get on your Windows machine. Like, so there was some kind of shitty pinball game. I remember that.
Hey,
And
Windows pinball machine was spot on.
I remember that, and I remember Jazz Jackrabbit, which I think I got as a pack-in with my PC.
I recently found
that's awesome.
I recently found an online downloadable version of Windows pinball, so it is now on my work laptop. I shamelessly say.
It's a fine game of pinball. Don't get me wrong, but it's also a game of pinball. So it was hardly the most exciting experience.
Yeah,
so
but
I'm trying to remember
startup noise of that pinball machine. Oh. Okay, now that's synonymous with like 90s kids, along with like the Windows logo noise and dial-up connection. I dare say that whirling noise you get when the program loads up and for the first time.
think what I'm going to go with for my canonical first game. I remember this very well because it was the only one I had on a cartridge from my Commodore 64. Everything else was the tape deck games. What did you say?
Nothing.
What?
You just made a noise into the microphone.
I heard pick.
I'm just saying that Ben's old.
Yes.
Compared
to you guys, yes. I'm going to go with Navy SEALs on the Commodore 64. Yes, that's the one I remember playing.
Did you enjoy the game? Did it get your seal of approval?
What I enjoyed most, I'm not even going to engage. What I enjoyed most about Navy SEALs
that's the truth.
was that it was on a cartridge and it didn't take half an hour to load. I like you guys I'm guessing you guys never experienced the tape deck loading experience with which you would have had on Commodores and Amigas and stuff back in the 80s and stuff and the 90s. So basically you put, like a cassette tape. They looked exactly like a cassette tape, and you'd have a tape deck reader, which you'd connect to the console, and you'd put the game in, and then it would I don't know how to describe it. The data came off of the tape, but the screen would flash multiple colors and go weird and stuff. And this would take, the best thing here is it would take about half an hour. You'd have to leave it, and then it might just fail. Half the time it wouldn't work. Half the time it wouldn't even work, and then you'd have to try again.
This is the problem when you have a console named after a military rank.
Hey, look, I love
it wasn't even a military game. He just played as a SEAL in the ocean.
So the game, the Navy SEAL is the cartridge one, but no, the one I remember playing with the tape was Looney Tunes. I remember a Looney Tunes game where I remember there was Roadrunner and Coyote and stuff like that. But it was all very, very. I remember it looking pretty good on the TV, but I don't remember the gameplay being great. I remember it was very frustrating. I never really enjoyed that. But no, the one I liked was Navy SEALs. But yeah, it's almost like I don't consider that the first games. I guess it is canonically. One I bought myself though. Christ, that is hard. Obviously, I very much remember buying my first console and the games I got with that. That's very memorable to me. But I'm not sure I remember the first game.
What was that then? To you.
Well, should we pivot that into the second question because it kind of connects?
We can tie the two together, so both of your answers then at the same time.
Yeah. So the second question is, what's your favorite console? And my favorite console is the first console I bought, and it includes some of the greatest, most memorable games of my youth, which was the original Xbox. So I remember buying the original Xbox at launch in the UK. Which was a few months later than the US and I'm not sure about Japan, but definitely the US. And it was the first time I'd got really hyped, and I'd saved up from my part-time job at WH Smith's, and I had a pre-order in for this console from a local independent game shop. I was one of 3 people going to pick it up that day. I remember talking to the guy who worked there, and I bought it with Halo, Project Gotham Racing, and Dead or Alive, and 2 controllers, and then excitedly took it home and plugged it into my 14-inch CRT TV in my bedroom, which is all I had back then, or anybody had back then in their bedroom, really. And played hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of split screen Halo with my brother. But yeah, I would have been 16 at the time, maybe 17, something like that. So yeah, and I remember that thing was expensive. That thing was like £400. I remember that, like £300 or £400 for that fucking console. But yeah, that was my in. That was where I became a gamer, without a doubt. I mean, before that, I'd been into, dabbled in PC games, but like that's where I decided like I'm going to get into this from the beginning. And yeah, that's where that connection came from. And I'll always be kind of, Xbox will always be my my primary, my home console. My number one manufacturer because of that connection. And then after that, I went back and I dabbled and I picked PlayStations up and went back and did, I got a SNES again after having a SNES and not really caring about it, and the Master System and stuff like that, and went backwards sort of and filled in the gaps. But I kind of, that's where I became a gamer. Yeah, 16, 17 with the original Xbox. I think it started something like 2003 or something like that. I'm trying to remember the launch of the Xbox. But yeah, that's where it started. I mean, before that, PC gaming, but that was Doom for me. Doom and RTSs. Lots of first-person shooters, wherever I could get, Doom and Quake and anything by id. And RTS games on PC and stuff. But yeah, that's where I became a proper hardcore gamer. Xbox. Yeah. So, fave console, Cam?
It could be. It's one of those things that it could easily be, a PC because of how long I've had PCs in my life, or it could be a Game Boy Advance, whereas like my first one that I ever actually had that was mine. But for me, it's like I'm gonna have to choose instead the PlayStation 3, because it was around that time I had an Xbox 360 and I was playing some games at that point. I had a PS2, and but like the online component of Xbox 360 was so much easier and so much better at that time. And I was playing a lot of Oblivion and stuff like that. And then I bought a PS3 and I bought it with Skyrim. It's my first PS3 game I bought, and it was the first like console I really bought myself. But it's my favorite console because it really gave me a perspective of how far I've become in like graphic design and stuff. I know it's only PS3, but like when you go from playing Oblivion and their kind of graphics to suddenly the first time the loading screen goes from black and the world of Skyrim starts appearing, it's a huge change graphically of like the trees, the environment you're in, the people's faces and stuff like that. That is really kind of exploded my passion for games, because I was just there and I was just like, the first time I've been fully wide-eyed, like, my God, this is incredible. And yeah. I can't move except my head. And now there's some Nord yelling at me saying, "Hey, you're finally awake." For the first time in my life, I was introduced to the meme. That would dominate the internet in the future. So that's why PS3's got to be my personal favorite.
The open world of Skyrim, the promise it had, like it genuinely felt massive. Like you could go anywhere, do anything. That game is really remarkable. I think a lot of people sort of take it for granted now because it's on everything and everybody's played it 6 bloody times and bought it on every platform you can imagine. But at the time, I remember that was just something else. Like, oh man, hundreds of hours I put into that. Yeah, so did my wife. And there was a while there that in our living room we had the Skyrim map on the wall in our living room, because all we did was play Skyrim and like just look at the map and be like, well, we're here, we want to go there, and but have our own saves and stuff. But it was on the wall because we had the strategy guides, and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I remember how much we were into that. That game's remarkable. I feel really bad though that you bought it on a PS3, but bad luck.
Well, yeah, it was the deal that came at the time. That's the only thing, though.
No, it was. I don't mean it in any kind of sucky way. It was just famously the worst platform for it. It had the most technical issues. It had the save issue. It had all the kind of save corruption issues it had. It was a complete shit show on that PlayStation. So that's what I mean.
I never came across any of those issues myself.
Oh, that's good, because it fucked a lot of PlayStations. So famously. But no, what a game! What a game! Oh my God, what a game! What about you, Rob?
Yeah, so this is difficult for me. This is difficult because I want to say both the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox 360 for exactly the same set of reasons. It's because of the memories I have playing on those consoles with my friends. That's why.
So would you like to tie that in with like your third answer?
I'm intending to. Don't worry.
But you need to pick one. I'm gonna make you pick one.
You can't. It is 50-50.
I'm gonna make you pick one. No, you gotta pick one. So just pick one.
We had this argument last week.
You can't imagine your bets. You've got to pick one. We've all picked. You got to pick.
Just diversify. Go for the Xbox.
If you're talking about multiplayer, I would definitely go 360 over PlayStation. Much better multiplayer.
The amount of times I had amazing, during summer holidays and stuff, I would have my two friends at the time, Matt and Richard, over, and we would have a multi-tap, and we would all hook up to the PlayStation 2, and we would play fighting games and racing games and kill each other. It was brilliant fun, absolutely brilliant fun. And it is one of my fondest set of memories in gaming, is those experiences. Like, that's where I got my love for Jak X Combat Racing, because it was a PlayStation 2 game. It's a game I have on my PlayStation 4 now, because I played it when I was in secondary school.
What was it called?
Jak X Combat Racing.
No idea.
Yeah. Have you heard of the Jak and Daxter games?
Oh, it's that one.
Yes.
Jak and Daxter Kart Racer.
Yes, it's the Jak and Daxter Kart Racer. It's really well put together. It's really, really fun.
Is this basically the Crash Team Racing version of Jak and Daxter? Is that it?
Essentially, yes.
All right, that's cool.
Yeah, it's just great. But then with the Xbox 360, I think there are more games that I've played, more single-player experiences I've had. Obviously, Borderlands 2 was on the Xbox 360, which is still one of my best games of all time. And yeah, I think I would probably have to, by like 0.1% give it to the Xbox 360. Like, literally, this is 50.1 to 49.9. Like, that's how close these two are for me. But
Hashtag not biased.
Yeah. Shut up. I am going to tie this into my third answer. The third question: what is the most memorable multiplayer experience you have had? And for me, that's in Destiny. So it was just an LFG group of gamers. We were doing the Vault of Glass raid, the first raid in Destiny history, and we were right at the end fighting Atheon. I'd done it a couple of times. You know, I wasn't green behind the gills. You know, I knew what was going on in the fight.
You weren't no noob.
Exactly. I knew what I was doing. So in the arena, you had to split into two teams of 3, and you had to travel to either the past or the future, depending on which side you went on. And then you had to hold down an area whilst the other trio essentially fulfilled the same purpose. My half of the team managed to get their time travel element done quite quickly, but then the 2 people on my side died. I single-handedly held down my plate on my side whilst the other side tried to get theirs done. They ran into a couple of problems. They needed to go back and revive people and that sort of thing on their side, but there was no one to go and help, because if I left my side, we would have wiped the whole encounter. We ended up having to wipe anyway, but I held it down for a solid 5 minutes, single-handed.
Nice.
And the other 2 players just sat there, dead, just going, holy fuck, you're insane. Because I was playing as the self-res character, so I went down and bam, I was right the fuck back up again.
I used to fucking love, had so many hero moments where in a raid or a strike, where you played the Warlock and you were Sunsinger and you had self-res, and those moments when the other 2 guys drop, and you all 3 drop, and you've got that clutch, you've been holding that thing in, and you hit it, and you've got one play, which is suicide run, res those fuckers. No, but I mean potential suicide run is what I'm saying. Res those guys and then push back the waves. Yeah. And it's like you've got a good chance of this, but it always felt so cool. It always felt so powerful, and like you'd not been great. You just had your guns. You got your skills, but you'd not had a super and stuff because you've been sitting on that. And then that's the time to shine. That's the moment your class, your warlock, is going to show off what it's all about, and you know, the elation, how pumped you'd get when you'd be able to then run through the hordes, dodging fallen, headshotting dudes, grenade, melee, res, go to the other guy. You know, I'm jumping, I'm hopping, you're literally bouncing across the map, and you know, you get them both up, and then you turn the tide and swing it back against the enemy. And it's like that. Oh god, yeah, that was why I'll always be a warlock. I mean, and it bummed me. I totally understand why they removed it in 2, because people, the way they play was, you weren't using it, you were sitting on it. You know, it's not that's not fun. You know, fun. Though I had a great time doing it. Problem is, I don't think the developers got how satisfying it was to actually pull that off. But I get why they removed it. But it's a bummer that
it made me play more recklessly, and it made me be more aggressive, because I knew I had the ace in the hole. I knew I had the ace in my back pocket. That if I run into something that's going to shotgun me in the face, I can just get back up again.
Yeah, totally.
You know, I'm right back there with my shotgun this time. You know, so it's I will always have that moment in Destiny raiding history for me. That will always be like peak raid. I can't wait for the Vault of Glass to come back. I cannot wait for that to come back this year. That's due back in the next couple of seasons.
Cam multiplayer.
Yes. So the most memorable online experiences that I remember having.
Memorable multiplayer. It doesn't have to be online.
Because I have another one which will probably tie into question 4, so I'll do my online version at least anyway.
Okay.
Because my before I had like a console I could really effectively play online with, I was a PC player most of the time, and it was not long after we had left school, and I was back into just general. I was working full time, so I could buy myself a new rig. That my first PC rig really, to play some games on and stuff. It wasn't expensive, but me and my friends used to play the original Call of Duty and the expansion United Offensive. And we'd play that online for hours, and I mean hours at a time. And we were all playing what was back then just a simple mod, which was the Zombies mode, which basically became like the precursor for not even Call of Duty Zombies, but more the Infected that they have nowadays.
Yeah.
And that was brilliant, because you kill someone with like a sledgehammer or whatever it is, you throw a bit of brains at someone from across the map, and then you would become a zombie as well. And then it would be down to the last man on the map. You know, you could have like 31 people in a game, all zombies chasing one person. And then you get to choose your own super weapon out of it, which is like, you know, like a mini nuke launcher or something at the time, a gigantic mini gun or whatever it was. And then you just hold off for as long as you can to get the most points at the end of the map. And it is just incredible, because they had like their own custom maps. It wasn't just like Carentan and Foy back then. There's their own custom maps people have made. Sometimes like you're playing in like a sandbox, so you've got like giant like sand castles and stuff you can try and like bunny hop onto and stuff as well. And that's the most fun that me and my friends used to have at that time, was always online Call of Duty, the original Call of Duties. It was so good. And even when you're playing like not a zombie mode, like when you're having like a proper sniper match against someone across the map, and there's not like there wasn't really like a shining scope thing, so you can see where snipers are back then. You know, you can hide in the bushes and you just kind of hope that you can see somebody move a little bit, and oh, there they are. Pop their head off and then scarper. And that during like the middle of like a huge battle was really cool. So yeah, that's probably one of my most memorable ones.
Yeah, mine. I was thinking I've got a few, and there's some obvious stuff. I mean, I could talk about playing Halo. You know, comes up a lot with either with my brother in split screen or Halo 2 multiplayer, hours and hours and hours. But I was actually thinking about this and thinking about. I think I'll go back to my first multiplayer. Online multiplayer experience, because it's weird, it's a bit strange. So back in the day, I was playing a game called Star Trek Starfleet Command, and this was like a 2D space combat game in which, you know, you flew around like Miranda class Enterprise ships and all kinds of different types of Federation vessels and Klingons vessels and stuff like that, and it had a multiplayer component, and it used a multiplayer client which neither of you are going to know about, but I would suspect, called M Player, which existed prior to anything else. I must have been 13 or 14 at the time of this. So it's the first computer in the house, like a Pentium 2, 233, 56K modem. But this M-Player client with Star Trek Starfleet Command actually enabled voice. You were able to talk to the people you were playing with, which was remarkable back then. I can't remember this player's name, but I can distinctly remember playing online, like 2v2 or like maybe 3v3, Star Trek Starfleet Command, in which me and this it was a woman, American. I remember that, and she sounded older. That's all I can tell you. But I just remember it was really friendly and like really nice community spirit, and she was really helpful and like telling me how to do stuff, but not in a horrible way. Like, you know, just helping me with the game and just explaining stuff. And there wasn't a clan, but like there were some people I guess I played with semi regularly for a few months. Then it didn't last a long time or anything like that. But I just remember that as like, wow, this is insane. I'm playing with and talking to this person in America, playing Star Trek, you know, another Trekkie like me, another big fan of Star Trek. You know, at the time I was watching it on BBC Two at 6 o'clock every day, basically when it came on. You know, Next Generation back then, I think maybe some DS9, and a huge Star Trek fan even then. And yeah, it was just super cool. Like, you know, firing, you know, doing things like coordinated attacks on the enemy, firing off our photon torpedoes to get through their shields and destroying the Klingon warbirds, and just on M-Player, and it worked. I remember it working and just being like, this is black magic. How is this possible? This is so cool, you know? So it was just really nice, sort of like, because I played some multiplayer online, like Doom and stuff and Quake and things like that, and it was just, you know, shoot, kill. There wasn't much of a community. There wasn't much of a team spirit, you know? It was just aggression. And that's the first time I feel like I was working with someone, communicating, strategizing, and like really, you know, working effectively as a team.
Building your own personal Starfleet.
Across the planet. Yeah, totally. It's just super cool. Like little obscure game, obscure service, early days, you know, like just felt like magic to a kid, you know, back then. And I'll never forget that. That was that. So that was my most memorable multiplayer experience I probably ever had. And loads since, you know, the multiplayer is just brilliant. There's so much cool stuff to do. So Cam, did you want to talk about this memory as a kid, play, you know, strong memory you had? That was mine, I guess, actually, as well.
So for me, one of the biggest memories that we can think of is that it was a weekend, one summer. I think it was around. For me, it was about year 10, so I think it's just before GCSEs. And we had the sleepover with me and my friends. We stayed around his house because, let's be honest, his parents were richer, so they had a bigger TV.
We all had one of those. We all had one.
It was one of those friends, yeah. But it was a hilarious night because, like, I brought my PlayStation round and I brought 2 controllers because that's all I had. Then my friend brought his 2 controllers, but he forgot his bloody the extender where you can fit multiple controllers on. What was it called?
The multi-tap.
Multi-tap, thank you. He brought in his multi-tap. I even brought. You're gonna love this one. I even brought in the. I don't even know how to explain what the name was, but it was like one of the original guns that you could buy on the PlayStation and the PS2. You remember them? They, you know, you can point them onto the TV and shoot the targets and stuff for games like Time Crisis. It was awesome. Yeah. And we just had a good night. You know, his mum ordered us all pizza and the return of the cat. He's coming back. Podcast cat. And we were gonna say like, all right, so yeah, we'll go to bed at like, you know, midnight sort of thing. But no, it didn't happen because we had a 4-player split screen Star Wars Battlefront 2 2005 like Galactic Conquest. So we had it on like hard mode. All 4 of us were playing as rebels versus the Empire, taking over every planet, doing space battles, doing absolutely everything. And it went on till about, I think, 3 in the morning instead, and we started at like 6 in the evening. and it's just one of those ones where like it's like the last planet, the last battle, we've destroyed everything, but you sat there like sunk into the chair, just is this over yet?
My hands hurt, my brain hurts.
I got blisters on my fingers.
I don't want to fight on Kashyyyk again.
Yeah. It was one of those, and it was just such a fun experience. And it was the setup leading up to it as well. It was like I brought my PlayStation. It was like, we're going to take it in turns. My friend's like, oh, I've got a multi-tap. I was like, oh, I'll go get it then. So he had to take like half an hour home to go get it, and it's got half an hour to come back. And then I got it all connected, but like I bought the case out, but it was the wrong disc in the case. So I had to walk 20 minutes to mine, and then 20 minutes back again. And
tell me this was after the guy had done the trip for the multi-tap.
It was.
Oh no!
Because we were playing Time Crisis with the gun while waiting for him, and I was like,
I like that. Right, guys, you ready to play? Opens the case. Barbie's Horse Adventures. Shit.
Yeah, so it's like, small snack, gentlemen.
I will be back in 40 minutes.
Yeah, pretty much. And then so we're all like, the thing is, like, because I was the only one who had the game at the time, so we were all excited to play it together anyway. So there was that kind of merit to it. It wasn't like a, for fuck's sake, come on, man. You know, it was like a, well, go get it then, because we were only like 14, 15 at the time.
Do you hop on your bike? Do you have a bike?
No, it was probably the most amount of running I'd done in my youth, and since.
That's fair. That's fair. That's a cool story. That's really nice.
But that's my memory. How about you, Rob?
I don't have a particularly strong memory from gaming as a kid. I don't. It's the only thing
I spent my time as a kid in the work farm.
May I continue?
I work fields.
The only thing that I think could possibly classify as the strong memory is the reasoning I gave for the PlayStation 2 being such a fond console of mine. As a cat organises himself to be held like a baby. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It is those times where, in some holidays I'd have my friends round and we'd play games on the PlayStation 2 with a multi-tap. And can you not headbutt my microphone, please? What are you doing?
Thunk, thunk, thunk.
That's probably what I would have to turn around and say. It is those experiences which obviously I've been through before, so I shan't labour on. Ben, why don't you shut up about games?
Because
that's question 5, not an attack.
I feel that was very pointed.
That is question.
Just shut up! Just shut up!
That is question number 5. That's not just me being a dick to Ben. That is our last question.
This is a personal attack on all three of us. Let's be honest. This question.
So Ben, your answer.
It's interesting, right? I'm very lucky because I've married an amazing woman who also games, so she doesn't get like super annoyed at me when I'm going on about games or getting hyped about games or taking up the TV or spending hours disappeared in my office and stuff playing stuff for review or just playing stuff like I have been recently. So I guess I don't shut up about them, and it kind of comes around to that similar one. I can't remember what the question was from last week, but we had a question about what made us love games, didn't we? And I think it's a similar answer to that. But I guess I like to talk about stuff because in various forms now, I've been a critic, I suppose. I wouldn't call myself a journalist, definitely not. But I call myself a critic, and I think anybody is a critic, really, if they want to be. But I've critiqued film, music, games, books for various outlets for the best part of 20 years now. At times even being paid for it, which is nice. I guess that's why I don't shut up about it, because I find entertainment, pop culture is so much a part of society and who we are. And I think right now it's so important because we're going through such a tough time, and therefore our entertainment is our escape. And I think now more than ever, people have rediscovered gaming since the first lockdown. And, we've seen spikes in the landscapes and stuff for sales. And, obviously you can't get hold of a Switch to save your life. You can't find any of the new consoles now either. It's because everybody wants that escape. So I don't stop talking about them because I think they're incredibly relevant and they're incredibly important. And, they're the interactive form of entertainment we have because everything else is passive. So, you watch movies and TV and everything else and read books. You don't, and listen to music. You don't interact with them. Whereas with games, you do. So you get divergent experiences because people experience games differently. And now that there are so many different types of games, that's only, widening that. And therefore, I think they're a fascinating medium to talk about and to discuss and to follow and to engage with and to enjoy. So that's why I don't shut up about games. Cameron, why don't you shut up about games?
Well, conversely to you, I'm unlucky to be with a woman who detests video games. No, I mean, yeah, my partner doesn't really like video games that much.
Doesn't like or doesn't understand. I don't mean to like. There is a difference, isn't there? I know
Either
there are
or,
just don't get it or just really actively hates them.
Either or, to be perfectly honest. I think she had a previous partner who used to play them non-stop, and it just kind of had a negative impact on her, which is kind of sad. But on the other hand, though, I know that if I bought us a Nintendo Switch with some, I don't know, like Mario Kart game or something like that, I think she would have some fun playing it, you know? So it might be a way for me to break her back into it. But I don't shut up about it because, you know, very similar to yourself, it's a part of my identity now, you know? I have friends that I would not have had today if it weren't for video games, you know?
Totally.
I have I have a friend of mine who lives in Ireland who I have never met. You know, I haven't met you, Rob, in person. I haven't met Richard in person. But, you know, I've counted you guys as my friends for the last, for about, how long have I been doing this with you for, Ben? About 4 years? Or longer?
A while, yeah.
And I have a friend who lives in Ireland who I met online, who I consider one of my friends. I send him, you know, filthy, disgusting, disturbing memes once every couple of days. And if you can't do that with somebody, you can't call them a friend.
I think you do that with us as well, Cam. To be
and
honest.
you, yes, we do. To the point where
I remember the shit you sent at Christmas.
Animal monster. Sat there with my wife, about to have my Christmas
tip of
lunch.
the
And I see that.
iceberg.
Jesus Christ.
But you know,
Tip of something.
To the point with my previous fiance, for example, that I had, and I had that friend of mine who I'd never met before, invited to my wedding. Because you know, I'm probably closer with him than the people that I've worked with for the last year. You know, and because like there's so much immersion and a lot of the games you can really invest a lot of time in and have some great multiplayer experiences with those friends. It's become the new norm for me instead of going out and, you know, going down the pub anymore. You know, I don't really go down to the pub to meet my friends. I'll say, like, you online at 7? I was like, yeah, mate, I'll be free. Sweet, let's have a chat. You know? And that's what we do now. That's how we hang out. We chat, we catch up whilst we play our games instead of having a beer or two, you know? Because I think a lot of young people in society are doing that nowadays as well. And to be honest, it saves me, well, I would say it saves me money because then I don't go spending money at the pub. Instead, I still spend it on video games.
Yeah, baby. More. I spend a lot more money on video games.
I probably spent more on video games than I have in beer in the last 2 years of my life, definitely.
I think that's a brilliant point, Cam. I mean, the ability of games to create community and make connections is such a positive aspect. And now that we've seen the explosions of things like streaming and the communities that have developed around that, so even if you don't have lots of money or the consoles or all the games, you can still participate and connect with these people. And I think that's so positive. And yeah, that it only makes it more acute to me when you see the negativity, because the negativity, of course, is a minority, right? You have to remember that there is more positive than negative, right, out there in these communities and in these spaces. But when the negative stuff happens, it really draws your attention to how these things can go wrong and can go the opposite direction. And we really want to see the end of that. But there'll always be that, and I think you can't stamp that out. That's that forever completely. That's human nature. So there's always going to be people that counter the positive. However, yeah, for the most part, the friendships, like Richard, for me, is a great example. He's not here today, but I've known him for, God, man, it's got to be like 15 years, like best part, easy, because of games. Like, I only met him for the first time like 2 years ago in person. So, but we've worked together covering games for 10 years and played before that, all because of a community, that had sprung up before Reddit, before Twitch, before streaming, you know, before all of that. So I think that's an incredibly important, powerful part of gaming, and that as a damn good reason not to shut up about games, because that's such a huge part, you know, the community, the connections. Yeah, Rob, anything to add, my man?
See, this is the point where I have the super easy answer, because what these guys said, seriously, like, echo both of those things. No, don't scratch me with your claws, thank you. Absolutely echoing both of your sentiments. I think one of the things I like about games. I'm stealing something shamelessly from the comedian Dara Breen at this point. Games.
He's a massive gamer, so fair
oh
play.
yes, games are the only traditional media-based hobby that you can be bad at. You can't be bad at listening to music. You can't be bad at watching a movie. But if you suck at a game, you're not going to finish it. You know, and I find that fact addictive and intrinsically fascinating. And I think that's why I enjoy talking about games and playing games and being a gamer. And it is, like Cameron said, I think it's part of my identity now. I would not be doing this. I would not have met Cameron without playing games. You know, it's not something that I would do. Conversely to you both, I am currently single. I do not have a partner to either assist with or get in the way of me playing games. Not putting either of those words in either of your mouths, by the way. But I don't have that concern. So I have complete freedom on when and what I play. And it's just a good time to be a gamer. It really is. I think it's becoming more and more popular and more common for literally everyone. Because in these times of lockdowns, there's a reason why consoles like the Nintendo Switch and the new things are so hard to come by. It's because it's becoming more and more mainstream, more and more commonplace, is to be, at least superficially, at minimum, into or aware of video games.
I think
that's the thing, because you've got, you know, it's not just on consoles either, you know. It's the people that say like, "Oh, I'm not really big into video games," but yeah, exactly. People on their mobile phone play. "Oh, I play Candy Crush." Well, bad news, sweetheart. You're a gamer.
And it's a shit game, but you're a gamer.
Yeah, but it's these sort of, because I grew up playing.
Don't you play Marvel Strike Force, Rob? Just FYI.
Yes,
buddy.
indeed, I do. I'm aware of how terrible it is.
Yeah, there you go, buddy.
Yeah.
I see Richard horribly addicted to Gears Pop a lot, so it's like, yeah. You guys, yeah.
But you know, as I said on previous episodes and stuff, you know, I've played these games since I was a child with my older brother and little sister, and you know, you're damn right. I'm going to introduce this thing to my son when he's a bit older. You know, because Dexter likes to play games. He likes to watch me play things. You know, I've been playing the Ratchet and Clank game that came out a few years ago. And he'll sit there and just watch me play it for a little while, you know, and I'll make some fun out of it. It's like, you know, there's like a lava area, and he loves just watching videos like of explosions and like volcanoes and stuff. So when there's like a big volcano area, he's really excited about it. And I've got my old PS3 still at home, and I have my intentions of plugging it into his little TV, giving him the controller and loading up the original Crash Bandicoots and stuff like that for him to have a go at. You know, when he's a bit older and he's got a bit more, you know, dexterity in his fingers and stuff. Just so that, you know, when he is older, I can then sit him down and go, "All right, mate, here's Player 2 controller. Now you can actually join me on XYZ," you know?
I have some friends who live nearby to me, Adam and Molly. Shout out to them, by the way. Their 4-year-old, Jack, who I love this kid. He's amazing. He plays Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Nice.
He plays Mario
He's already.
Kart
I mean,
on
I'm
the
sure
Wii
he's.
U,
I'm sure he's already
wins.
pawning noobs. Isn't he already pawning noobs on Fortnite if he's 4? I mean, that's kind of the key demo, isn't it? I mean, like,
no, thankfully,
he's already.
Thankfully, both Adam and Molly have good taste in the games they suggest that he plays. So yeah, he plays Mario Kart and he regularly beats them.
Hey man, I thought you said they had good taste.
Oh. He has done a couple of runs on Hades. When I spent Christmas Day with them last year, he did a run or two on Hades. He's got his own save file on Hades.
Oh, I love it. That's cool.
I love it because I think that's also a thing that's happened then more and more during the pandemic is he's had to play on his own because both of them work full time. So
I've got Dexter. Whenever I load up Crypto the Necro Dancer, I know. Because I can see out the corner of my eye, Dexter starts dancing to the theme music.
How old is Dexter?
Adorable.
He's 3.
Oh,
3 and a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'll load it up, and as soon as that kind of like bassy kind of do I can see, and he'll look up, he'll be like, "Yes, boy, dance for me."
Little metal guy. I like it. Throwing the horns up. Good on it. That's
So
quality.
yeah, that's what I want. And I wanted to be able to, enjoy this as a medium, because I said it I think it was last week as well, that while this is obviously one of the newest forms of media in the world, even these movies have been around for ages, music has been around for years. Video games have a stigma against them, kind of, for a lot of like the older generations. But nowadays, it's an art form through and through. Not just playing them, but like some games are just beautifully made and written,
So
and out, and
I wouldn't worry about the stigmas because it's a generation. It's just one generation, and once they're gone, then they're gone. It's the same thing happened with heavy metal. The same thing happened with comic books. The people who don't get it and they fear it. People fear what they don't get. But I think video games penetration now, and I think the pandemic is going to have and lockdowns are having such a massive effect on this, is that people are gaming who never, like you said, the ones on the mobile, right? Who don't think themselves a gamer, right? But they're now realizing when they bought the Switch, no, they are a gamer. When they picked up a new console because everybody was talking about it, no, they are a gamer. And it's like, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of people as we get in towards the end of this year and next year that are going to stick with this hobby. And I think it's actually done an incredibly good thing for the industry. And I think obviously that massive bank coming in for all the big boys in this area. And the great thing is as well about games is especially with the digital libraries, is that it's all there. You can go back and play stuff from the beginning of the generation. In say the Xbox's case, you can go back and play stuff from the original Xbox on your Xbox One if you want. So you have all these incredible choices, don't you? So yeah, I'm really excited to see what this year brings and what we see coming out of the pandemic. Positivity. We might not get a lot of new stuff. That's the downside, but. That's time to get into your backlog. Time to dig into those libraries.
I was going to say every gamer in the world has a backlog. So I think the last point I'm going to bring up before I think we wrap for today is it brings us back to our original point about Cyberpunk being such a digital success because of the sheer amount of situations where you have people who have had kids, those kids have grown up and are now playing video games. So gamers are producing gamers and it's spreading and proliferating through. And that's why games like Cyberpunk can be such a success and sell so many units that they do.
I don't know. The way you put it like that, it makes you sound like gaming an STD, Rob.
Gamers are producing gamers.
They are. And look at yourself with Dex.
Oh no!
Look at yourself with Dex, Cam.
When two people love each other and get
God's
married and have a child.
Jesus
Gamers producing gamers.
Christ.
Gamers breeding. Ah!
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what I have to work with.
That is it. We're ending it on that. We're ending it.
A concisive, interesting point, but no. Anyway.
So ending it on hashtags gamers producing gamers, the newest threat to our society. I will see that on Sky News in the next few days, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to use that as the hashtag for this podcast. I'm totally doing that.
Oh, no.
It's going to be so good. I love it. Gamers
Tonight on Sky News at 7. Gamers producing gamers.
So that's been another episode of Experience Kids. I really hope you've enjoyed the double whammy sort of topic of first date questions. We've had a great time covering that and diving into our history and why we love the medium and having a talk around it. I really enjoyed it. Do you guys enjoyed that? I really enjoyed that.
Very much so. If any of our audience, tweet us with questions you would want us to answer.
Yes, absolutely.
And we will do another version of this in a few weeks' time.
And I'll keep an eye out for those questions. Make sure you use the hashtag gamers producing gamers, and I will keep an eye on that. And
I hate you, Ben.
And, let's get it trending. I think that's what we want to achieve with that. Number 1 in the world, please. On Twitter. That would certainly help us out, that's for sure. So I have been your host, Ben. You can find me on Twitter at DIYE. Rob, where can people find you?
You can find me at Homeless Mr. Gibbs.
It's almost like I could find me at Homeless. I was like, shit, man, what's happening? I was a little bit worried.
I've not heard that one before. But you can find me on Twitch at the same name. You can find me pretty much everywhere at Homeless Mr. Gibbs.
Cameron, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me sitting on my sofa at home playing video games most of the
time.
But you can find me at Camelot on Twitter. I don't know why I'm on there. I have nothing useful to say.
And you don't really use it, do you? I mean,
I'm the same.
I follow some gaming news. That's what I have the account for. That's pretty much all it's there for me.
So all you need, I mean, for that, all you need to do is follow Experience Skills on Twitter, which can be found at Experience Skills for all the latest breaking news and updates as to what we're producing and podcasts and you know, all kinds of good stuff. Obviously, we've got the hashtag now trending #1 worldwide, gamers producing gamers, and that is going to be, you know, the hottest new topic. Expect to see that coming on Sky very shortly. So in addition to all that, you can obviously give us a like and subscribe on YouTube because, let's be honest, that's what we ask for. And that's on the YouTube channel. Guess what? Guess what it's called? Experience Skills. In addition to that, we are basically available on every podcast provider on the planet. I'm not going to say the name of one of them because it always lights up my machine. If you're looking in the background here, we're available on that device. We're
on
Google,
Amazon Alexa. I have one, but it's a different watchword, so I can say it.
Rob can say it, yes. That is a good point. Rob can say it. Yeah, we're on all those platforms as well because these are quite long, these podcasts, so it might be best to listen to some audio format when you're down the gym, if that's ever allowed again, or out for a walk, which is something you can do. And now, according to Boris in the UK, we can go out for a walk with one other person from another household at some point. Why? But anyway, so that's a thing. But yeah, so the good stuff going on. Hopefully, we all having a lovely time in lockdown and playing lots of games. We'd love to hear from you. What games are you playing? What questions have you got for us? Get in touch. Leave us a comment. Yes. Tweet us. Do something. Please do something so we don't have to just talk to each other.
Engage us, please. Ben's driving us insane.
I think I might start content. I've been testing some streaming recently on Twitch. I might start Twitch streaming, so you can find us on Twitch at, strangely enough, Experience Kills as well. Twitch TV/Experience Kills. And yeah, you might find some streams coming up on there shortly as well because there's not a lot going on with new games, and I think that's everything. So until next time.
Bye.
Oh no. Goodbye, ladies and gentlemen.